Captain's log, day 7. This is my first log of day 7 of being unwell. 9 days ago, I went to the ER because my pulse was really high for no reason. And then 2 days later, I went back, same thing, but worse. And I have been down and out every day since then. During this time, we were recovering from a water crisis in this city where we lost access to clean drinking water, or any water. There was no water supply. The inauguration happened. I've been off of Instagram with the exception of like 2 short times. And it's been hard. The reason I wanted to talk through this is that just now, like 5-10 minutes ago, for the first time, I had a little pep in my step. And it kind of just gave me like a bleep of hope, because it's been feeling like I'm gonna feel this way forever. I've had like chronic health issues and fatigue and like all kinds of stuff throughout my life that like get better or cycle in and out, or kind of like issues come up and they're monitored and they get better. But the past like 6 months or so have been really, really hard. And I quit my full-time job and have been planning and executing like a lot of really exciting work and events with drag and yoga, and picked up some restaurant shifts, was able to go to some of them. But this past week, like, I've just been really focusing on stress management, and it's not really been a choice. My energy levels are so low. My body feels like an anchor. Doing any task is very hard. I'm lightheaded, I'm dizzy, I almost said dead. I am like barely functioning. And then I had this blip of a moment where I noticed I was kind of, like I said, a pep in my step is the best way I can describe it. And for a moment, I got really excited. Like, not like I know that it's over, because it's certainly not. A lot of doctor's appointments coming up and health recommendations I need to follow up on and testing to do, and I've been feeling really bad today. My pulse was at like, I track it. I want to be accurate, even though it's not that important. Yeah, it was at 121 after my meditation. My heart was pounding. It got down to 104 during that time, but it's always bopping around. I don't really know like the worst thing that can happen other than just like I don't know if I could like have a heart attack or I don't know what's going on. I've been obsessing over it. But anyway, I had a friend coming over to help me schedule some appointments, and we did. And it was like really hot in my apartment. So I, even in that state of like my pulse being 122 and being frustrated, I was like, I'm gonna take a shower. And I did. I don't know where I'm going with this. So yeah, I took a shower. Oh, and then after my shower, my pulse, I track it with this little finger monitor that I'm sure is not 100% accurate, but it gives me a guide, and sometimes I do it manually. But I knew it was gonna be high, and the thing was, at first it said 222. That was wild. I've never seen anything like that. But then it went down to 160 and 134. But it was up super high, and I had a headache. I wrote it down and I sat down and we did stuff. Talking is really tiring, so I'll probably stop talking in a minute. My breath is really short. Today was one of the days that I did get on Instagram and kind of skimmed through to see if I had any like timely messages, and all the events that I have coming up. I've had to cancel things, but I have stuff coming up I really want to do. And I got even like a new invitation to teach a queer yoga class somewhere I haven't done that. And I was honest with the person. I like told them I'm dealing with chronic health issues and that it's hard to make commitments, and it's also like far enough in the future that I want to have hope that that's something I'd be able to do, because teaching yoga is a gift and it gives me energy. And I used to say I can show up in any state, and that's actually one of the things I love about it, is that it helps me be present to practice with other people. Like I can sit down and be like, this is where I'm at and this is where I'm coming from, and let's be here together. And today I was supposed to teach yoga. I decided last night that it wasn't a good idea because I haven't been driving and I'm unwell. Again, I don't really know what the worst thing that can happen is if I push myself, because I almost feel like it like can't really get any worse. Like, okay, I go somewhere and I do something that maybe takes energy, maybe gives energy. I don't really have anything to give except my presence. But I mean, I'm in so much pain. Like, I'm in so much pain. Yeah, so I had to cancel that. There was another recent time I had to cancel teaching yoga. Never something I've canceled before. I love going outside, and I haven't really been able to move very much. So I think the last time I went outside, I just took out the trash. So I was outside for a minute, like a few steps. I've gone on a few walks, short, and like when I walked across the street to the museum, I was like leaning on a lamppost while I waited for the crosswalk to change. And I wished I had a cane. I think I'll ask some friends to walk with me and just like hold their arm. You know, but it's like, I don't know, what's going to happen? Am I going to pass out? When do I know if I do need to go back to the ER? I think I guess I don't, because I mean there are conditions in which I think I would, but I don't even have health insurance. I'm trying not to worry about that. I'm waiting to get approved for Medicaid. I mean, in the state that I've been in, even when I did have energy to be working harder on all this like contract work and things I have coming up, it still isn't enough to pay my bills. So we crowdfunded my rent. A lot of people helped me. I feel like I even barely asked, and I got a lot of help. But that's not sustainable. I can't crowdfund my rent for the rest of my life, or the year, or the spring, or whatever. The positives of what I've been through recently are that I have had like a shift in perspective about what's really important to me. I mean, I'm already a reflective person, so it's like, even if my brain has nothing and I'm watching movies or staring out the window or taking another nap or meditating or whatever, like, I'm thinking about stuff most of the time. And yeah, I think I've given myself permission, I have, to like move away from Instagram. So on one hand, there's like, okay, coming up with a plan for how to still like organize and communicate and do all the things that I want to be doing, like teaching yoga and hosting drag advocacy events, and you know, so I could do like email list, website, text things, like a Signal group. But then I'm like, I'm in this like pause moment where I'm like, can I even do all that? And while it is exciting and important to me, like, if that's where I put the limited amount of energy that I have, like, if the state that I'm in is, if it's gonna be this bad, if it doesn't improve, like, is that what I am doing? I've been writing a lot. That feels kind of like important, that I can write when I'm at my worst. And sometimes, I mean, I journal a lot, but I also have been like working on a new project, I guess. I've started a lot of books. I have a lot of ideas. I plan to publish books. I think in a way I'm like, well, if I get like a I mean, this is just the way my brain thinks, like a fatal diagnosis, or like if it doesn't get better, if it keeps getting worse, or if it just stays like this, what can I do? Like, besides exist. And I can write. So, oh, this is a page I was looking for. I'll throw my hands up in the air and try again. It feels that way where I'm just like, like it really felt like there was so much momentum with everything. So I think that what happened today, like that pep in my step, I was kind of surprised. What happened before is that I got on Instagram and answered a couple messages and was really honest with people that I'm working with about where I'm at and brainstorming some plans about, like, for example, in one show that I'm supposed to host, I was like, what if I get a co-host and we share some of these responsibilities, and then worst case, if I can't be there, they do it. And same thing for you, that yoga class, like, let's plan for it, and when the time comes, I'll find a sub if I can't do it. But I also don't want that to be how everything is. And I have some stuff coming up in a week and a half that are really, I feel like, important days, full weekends. I have all these like brainstorming lists and all these people that have been helping me, and it's just hard to know, like, do I assume that I can be at all these things? Do I take a back seat? Do I cancel them all? Do I cancel them one at a time? But yeah, the pep in my step, still a mystery. I guess I didn't figure that out by talking through it. But I guess what I did with that excitement is sat down to process it. Though there was obviously a part of me, obviously to me, or people who know me, like, I was like, oh my God, a burst of energy. What do I do with this? I could do anything. Could take another shower, do some dishes, do some more planning. I mean, it didn't really last, but I think the hope lasted. I have complicated feelings about the word hope, but I was like, oh, okay. This is a gift. Like, it's so small. And also, like, okay, good things can still happen. I don't know. I'm just flipping through my journal now. Like, I think, like, writing is a big thing for me to do right now. I'm also like, oh my gosh, I can't do that much. So writing doesn't really take things out of me. It does take time, and I have time. So much time. That's weird. That's actually unusual. But I don't cry very easily right now, but I feel like cry feelings, like, It's like frustration tears, or like that, like throwing my hands up in the air, like talking for this long, it helps me to process verbally, but talking for this long is exhausting. I'm gonna lay down after this. Lie down. I always forget that from my grammar class. Lay down, lie down. It's complicated. But I found this little stress ball, little star. It says keep moving forward. So I'm playing with that. I haven't really needed to like stim as much recently. The few times that I've kind of built up some energy, I have cried. At one point I was doing this for a minute, and in a different state of being, I think what I would do with that is go on a walk or do cartwheels or like dance or do some movement, yoga stuff. Instead, I sat down at my keyboard and I sang, played piano. That doesn't really take a lot of energy. It's kind of similar to writing, that I feel like I can do it in any state. This singing is hard, especially when my pulse is really high. Like, it doesn't need to sound good. It was a way for me to get my energy out. That frustration I was feeling in my body, for a very valid reason that was specific. But yeah, I don't know what to do. I like to solve problems and collect data and do research and figure out things, and I've changed my life in that way many times. But the future feels very uncertain. And while I know and can see so clearly how much support I have, that like I'm gonna be okay, you know. My friends in my community are not gonna let me like, you know, lose access to housing or food or friendship or support. Clearly, that, like, I know that will not happen. Even people I don't really know are offering like specific help, like picking up groceries or just things that I do need. If I said yes to everyone, that would be like so overwhelming. There was one day I got 5 offers in one morning, and I was like, I don't even know how to process this. But yeah, I know it's going to be okay. I love my apartment. I don't want to leave it. So I think there's something that I'm meant to write right now. And one day at a time, perhaps it is what I'm writing. Perhaps it's what I've already written and will continue to write. Or perhaps I'll find some more specific focus on a project. Because like that's something that could support me if I got a book deal and got an advance and had a specific thing to work on. I could absolutely navigate that. I know that. That's like one of the only things at this moment that I'm like, yeah, I could do that. I could write every day, even when I feel awful and I'm mostly sleeping. And I mean, I think in theory I could also like talk on camera every day, but I don't like doing the admin stuff of like uploading videos and doing captions and just whatever, all of that. But I could ask someone to help me if that was a thing. Oh, yeah. Earlier when I was talking about like what's happened in the last 9 days, another thing is that like TikTok almost left and Mark Zuckerberg said all that stuff, all that transphobic. I'm trying not to curse. Whatever. All transphobic comments and harmful I can't find my words, like policies and views of Meta. So that's another reason I'm just like, I'm gonna get off Instagram. There are other ways to communicate and organize. I might put this on YouTube. If anyone's watching this and has watched it all the way through, you're probably watching it on YouTube. Who knows? YouTube might go down the drain as well. Such a weird time. Okay. I think I'll end with this. You know, I am sick. I am dealing with medical conditions. And also, I know that I'm always like careful how I say this because I worry what people think. But I am very sensitive to like other people's energies. And I think really big scale, like I think about like the collective of humanity and like I literally like zoom out, think about the planet Earth a lot and like everyone on it. And I care so much about everyone. Like, it's like I care more about everyone than I do about any one person. And the world's kind of on fire. I mean, literally, LA has been dealing with wildfires and genocide happening many places. The new president in America. Scary stuff happening for trans and queer people. And then for me, like, I'm clearly a disabled person. And like, getting on disability seems impossible. It supposedly takes like 6 to 8 months. 6 to 8 months? I'm like, what on earth are we supposed to do? And I'm a person that is so lucky to have so much community and support that like I'm gonna be able to pay my rent. A lot of people don't have that. Like, what are we supposed to do? What are they supposed to do? What are people supposed to do that don't have like the networks and resources and community that I happen to have at this moment? Well, and I actually know. I mean, it's systemic oppression. Like, when I've been in situations like this before, because I've like, what I keep thinking about is that content warning just mentions of abusive relationships. I will not go into any detail, but like, especially for queer people in this situation, like I ended up moving in with a partner and it was an abusive situation and I was able to get out after a month. But a lot of people have to find unsafe housing conditions with other people or with environmental factors or whatever. I mean, a lot of people don't find housing. It's just like the system does not work. It just does not work. And I mean, a lot of us know this, but I'm getting to see it from like a different perspective right now. Like, I have a lot of privilege within this situation, and also I'm like just stuck. So on the bright side, I did get approved for SNAP benefits. I got an EBT card in the mail. I have a lot of dietary restrictions and food allergies, so my groceries can be more expensive, and I also have an eating disorder, and I also have this like fatigue and stuff that like cooking is pretty hard for me. So I generally eat more like convenience meals, which can be more expensive. So I might actually, I could ask for help and have someone come over and like make a soup maybe out of groceries I'm able to get. But I did get that. I was in a similar situation financially like 4 years ago in Texas, and I didn't get approved for SNAP benefits. And I was like, if I don't get approved, how does anyone? Because I was down and out. I had nothing. I had to do like 3 phone interviews. I'm getting worked up about this. And I didn't get it. I was like, what? Anyway, okay. Wow, I talked for 32 minutes. That's funny. Yeah, so that's my captain's log. I do kind of feel like I'm on a spaceship by myself, although people keep visiting, so it's not that bad. Luckily, I'm not contagious. That would be awful. But like, just here in this space, don't know what my job is besides taking care of myself. I like living in the world. I like meeting new people. I like going outside. I like creative expression. I like not being on screens. Like, I like showering every day. I like adventures. Even in horrific times and like a horrifying political landscape and the state of the world being absolute shit, like, I can usually still do those things. Like, I can have moments of joy. I can be outside, like, we can breathe the air and look at the trees and look at the water, and can hug people and meet people and make eye contact with strangers who aren't strangers anymore. And I'm stuck at home. But I'm here. There must still be something for me to do in this life. So, okay, that's all. that's all for now.